am a kind of person that believes that as adults you should know things that go on in your life around you. I have a problem with you waiting for somebody to tell you something that you know you should be doing, or even if you don't know, you should know. You better know. You have to learn to know, because you became a parent the same day that I became a parent as well. The same way I had to quickly learn, I expect that you should quickly learn it as well. Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. If you are just seeing my face for the first time, you are late. You are really late. Where have you been? Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell so that you don't continue to miss out on my beautiful face and my valuable content. Okay? Yeah. Today's video is a vulnerable one. I usually don't film videos like this, or maybe I do now. If you watched my what did I title that video? My marriage and friendship video. I'm not sure what the title of that video is right now, but the one where I talked about like how marriage changed your friendship, relationship. Today's video was the original idea, but after I finished scripting that video, I was contemplating whether it was like a TMI sort of situation. Should I share that kind of information on the internet? I was just going back and forth with myself whether or not I'm comfortable sharing, but in the end I realized that this had to be said. Like, it's something that I need to put out there. I still had the nudging in my spirit to go on with it. So if you're seeing this video, congratulations. I think that this is something that we all struggle with. We just don't talk about it a lot. It's not a very sexy topic to talk about. The fact that childbirth, becoming a mom, becoming parents actually change the dynamics of your marriage, the dynamic of your relationship with your husband. It's not always negative. It can be positive. It is positive most of the time, but there's that change that happens, and before you get to the positive side of things, before things will begin to get normal again, before everything becomes good and nice and sweet, there is always that part of friction. There's always that not so good part, I should say. There's always that not so good part that I think almost people go through before they get to the part where everything is beautiful again. So that part is what we are going to be talking about in this video, and like always, I'm going to be using my personal experience as the benchmark of things. I don't know how things are happening with other people, so it's never ever my intention to like insinuate or try to say that my situation is the norm. So I always use my own situation as a point of reference for all of my videos. So as always, I'm going to be using my marriage, my motherhood journey as the case study for this video. If this is something you're interested in, let's dive in. No matter how strong your relationship is, having a child is going to change things. It's going to shift everything. In as much as having a child has the capacity to bring you guys closer, before you get to that stage, there are things that you need to figure out first. There are challenges that you need to face. And for us, it started with when we were trying to have the child in the first place. My story is kind of long and complicated, and I've told some of the story on my other channel. I'm going to link some of those videos in the description of this particular video so that you guys can watch it to get like the full picture. But our story started even long before we had our daughter. I had a son who we lost, and then I had surgery, and then we went through like a TTC stage, a stage where we were trying to conceive before we eventually conceived and had my baby girl. It was like a lot of things that happened, and I don't know how strong a relationship has to be to go through all of those things without any friction. So like you would imagine, there were a lot of like friction. There were a lot of challenges that we had to face with grief, with care, taking care. Like, I was hospitalized for like 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks before I had my baby. So it was like a lot of things that we had to go through in a very short period of time. Then I underwent surgery. In all of these things, I have a very supportive, hands-on, loving, caring husband. But we are all humans, and there were definitely occasions, situations where we butt heads. Like, you guys know this English, let's just be going. So there were situations like that where we didn't agree, where things came between us. It was like an ongoing struggle, and then we got to the trying to conceive stage. I think that was like the most difficult part of the whole thing, not the having a baby and losing the baby. The grief we did together, my surgery we went through together, all of that was sort of like a combined I don't want to say sorrow that we went through. It was combined. We were in it together, we went through it together. Then we got to the trying to conceive stage. That part felt like the both of us were just like in separate worlds, and I think it was something that had to do with like personality. We are very different people personality wise. We are similar in some ways, and in other ways we are very, very different. And in this particular situation, the difference that made us butt head a lot was because my husband is like a carefree, positive, everything is going to fall in place, don't worry kind of person, and I am a always worried, what is happening, how fast can this thing be, no patience kind of person. So while I was going through that TTC stage very, very intensely, he wasn't going through it as hard as I was. At least this is what I believe, and in conversations like this is what I have induced as well. So he was just not, he was worried at a point, but not as worried as I was. He was worried, and then with hope that even though it's taking long, it will happen, especially because with the first one we didn't have to do any sort of weight. But I was sort of in a, oh, with everything that my body has gone through, maybe there's now something that is seriously wrong. But he was in a, you are fine, especially because the doctor had cleared that we were fine. It was just like a situation where we were both going through the same thing, but we were not in the same place. So even when I would cry and worry and think about all of the things that are wrong and why this thing is not, he wasn't understanding that. So we butted head a lot with that. And if you have tried to conceive before, or if you are in a TTC stage, you know that relations gets really, really weird because you have to time things and then follow calendar, and it's very, very annoying and frustrating. That caused some sort of friction as well. I'm not going to go through all of the details of all of that. I think I filmed a video about my TTC stage, which I'm going to leave in the description box, so you can check that out. I just wanted to mention that in this video for context, so that you see that the change started long before the actual parenthood situation. So that was where it started. Then we eventually got pregnant and had a relatively easy pregnancy. If you remove all of like the emotional roller coaster that came with that, I did not have like a bad pregnancy. I have experienced like what a really hard pregnancy feels, looks like. So I know for a fact that my pregnancy with my daughter was easy breezy. Most of it was just mental and the fear of what happened before not repeating itself. That was it. So the pregnancy part, very smooth. Then I had to leave. I left in March, or was it April? I can't remember precisely now. Then I was away in Canada till about September when we came back with my daughter. So for all of that time we were away. And Canada is a world of its own. The time difference, it was a very, very hard time as well. So it was like we were doing long distance relationship all over again. Background, we dated long distance all through before we got married. He was in a different country, I was in a different country until we got married, and then he just took us back to the struggle of being in a long distance. That was very, very difficult because it means that we had to be making special provisions to be able to communicate, and even at that we couldn't communicate as much because sometimes when he he's sleeping, I'm awake. When I'm awake, he's sleeping. And what helped was in the period while I was away and working, I worked for a bit before I had my baby and then went on maternity leave. So I was usually awake in the time when he was awake. So that part, communication wasn't hard because I was working a normal day job hours, which is usually when he's awake. So communication wasn't so hard then, but after I gave birth, it was a bit hard. But in that period where I was away, it was a little bit hard, but there was hope. It was not like an indefinite sort of living or being apart. It was a long period that we were apart, but we know that it was coming to an end, and we were both counting down to when that would eventually happen and when things would, smooth out. And I don't think that we had like any major friction or clashes during that time. It wasn't. We were just in preparation mode, getting the things I would need for our daughter, my hospital appointment, just making all of the preparations for her arrival. I was with family as well. He was fine and doing well, so there was no cause for alarm. There was no issues apart from when I was hospitalized after the. Again, all of these things are plenty stories that we don't need to get into, but during that period there was not much friction. I think we were good. I don't think we even fought at all. We disagreed a tiny little bit. I can't even remember, but I know that we can't go 6 months without like having at least one small disagreement, but I can't even remember if there was. But that period was good. We had practice with our dating long distance, so this time around it wasn't that bad. Then we came back to Nigeria and then back to our base, which was where things got real, because we no longer had any help. Family had gone on, everybody's back to where they're supposed to be, and it's just us and this new human being that we created that we did not know what we signed up for. So it started getting really difficult, and this is the time where we are sort of in the figuring it out stage. So there were a lot of clashes. First of all, I realized very quickly that sleep is a goner. Exhaustion, tiredness, and that mental burden of having to look after this child. I would consider myself like the primary, no, let me not say I'm the primary parent, but like the way our labor is divided. I work from home. I'm home with the baby most times on weekdays. My husband does most times weekends. Then we switch up like that just because of the time and provisions we have. I work from home, he works outside the home, so we have to balance like that. But all in all, we have, the both of us and this child. We have to figure it out between ourselves. So there was a lot of clashes. Most of it came from me actually, because my husband is like an easygoing kind of person. He doesn't complain much. So even when he's not so happy with things, I have to read it from like his mood and like the things that he does and doesn't say most of the time. But I would definitely speak out. So I would definitely talk all of the time. I would complain about how I feel that the burden is unequal and how I feel just overstimulated, how I don't have time to do anything, and how I can't sleep much, because taking care of my baby in the daytime is a lot. Like, it's a lot coupled with my work. So all of the work that I cannot do during the day, I have to stay up late at night to do. This video that I'm filming, I'm actually filming, what's the time? 9:07. And after this video, I still have like a couple of work things to wrap up. Then in charge of the food in the house. There are just like a lot of home things that I do. And if you are a mom who does like a lot of home things, you know how hard it is. I don't think that men understand like the mental burden that comes with cooking, sorting out all of like the home things. I don't think they understand that fact, which is something that I've had to like speak up about and complain about, which made my husband like step up and start doing some of those things just to remove a lot of this burden from me. So when it comes to our stage now, I think that we are in a better place, not like a perfect place, but we are in a place where if things are getting bad, everybody can lay it on the table, communicate and rebalance things. But that's one way that your relationship changes. There's no time. You guys don't have time. You're exhausted all of the time. Alone time is, oh God, by your grace. It's like that's like what the situation of things is. We cannot sometimes I just look at my daughter and say, so there is no way we can return her. We cannot return her. My husband would look at me and say, to be a pan, like, where are we returning her to? What do you mean? What do you mean return her to where? This person is now our responsibility 100% of the time. Like, she comes first. You have to consider her in all of the things that you do, and that's just like a situation that I think that we are still navigating in a good place now, but something that we are still learning to navigate. Outside of the exhaustion, the tiredness, the lack of sleep, the realization that you are now in care of this child all of their life, there's also the communication part as well. I think that's the first part of your relationship that gets hit, your communication. And if you're not careful, it's just like a lot of back and forth that would happen. So you guys would learn how to communicate all over again. I know that it was our case. It was something that we began to relearn again, having stayed apart for a period of time. There were things that we were not doing that we were supposed to be doing, but because we were in different places, they were not possible. Coming together and living together, you could not be doing those things with the person in the house. So there were just certain things that we had to relearn and learn how to do. So your communication will definitely change. Then there is like the unspoken expectation as well. In my case, I carried it for a long time, but then I began to speak up about it, and I realized that if I don't say anything, it's not going to clock it, and nothing is going to change. So there are things that you, especially because there is now like a new burden of care, is that what it is, label, that is attached to your regular day-to-day life. So when you got married, it was just the both of you navigating life. You guys came to like a rhythm. Everybody was doing what they needed to do to keep the relationship 100, and now there's the introduction of a new human being with their own wants, needs, responsibilities. If care is not taken, I know that in most situations the woman tends to step in more and they carry that burden. And usually we have this silent expectation, at least I did, let me not say we, at least I did. I am a kind of person that believes that, like, as adults, you should know things that go on in your life around you. Like, I have a problem with you waiting for somebody to tell you something that you know you should be doing. Or even if you don't know, you should know. You better know. You have to learn to know, because you became a parent the same day that I became a parent as well. The same way I had to quickly learn, I expect that you should quickly learn it as well. But again, this is something I'm beginning to realize that you have to speak up about. I don't know if it is true that thing that they said that women have this innate ability to, do things around motherhood, caregiving for children, all of those things are something that women learn innately. Before we had kids, I remember telling my husband that the only thing that I can do that he cannot do is breastfeed. Outside of that, every other thing is up for grabs. Like, if it's not breastfeeding, every other thing is things that you can do and I expect that you should do. But they say men are different, wire differently. I was keeping quiet and just saying, okay, maybe he realized it. Okay, but it was not. So I had to talk. I had to like open my mouth and talk. There's no point keeping your expectations to yourself and then you resent your partner. I think I was coming to that place where I was beginning to be pissed all of the time, and the last thing that I want to do is sort of develop resentment for somebody that I'm living with, somebody that I'm going to continue to live with for a very long time. I don't want to be in that situation where you're bearing bitterness. So I knew that I had to speak. I knew that there was nothing like silent expectation, and I'm hoping that he as well is expressing the expectations that he has of me that I'm not fulfilling as well. So we have conversation about those topics when they are raised, and we come to like an agreement, something that will work, even if it's for a short period of time, and then we re-evaluate as we go. Then there's the physical intimacy part of things. This is the juicy part, right? That is like a different ball game. That's a different story. A lot of things change. You guys no longer have alone time. In our situation, it wasn't just a alone time. We were away for a long period of time. like you already guessed, that was non-existent in that period of time. And then coming back, it was like I just went through surgery, a lot of things change about my body, there are a lot of things I'm uncomfortable with, at least in the beginning. So there are a lot of things that would work towards that not happening, and you guys need to work extra hard in order for that to not suffer. And again, this is something that keeping silent about would not solve. You would need to open up and speak up, and you guys will need to go through things. You have to be open and honest about like the way you feel about things, especially like if you're not comfortable with your body, the situation. There are a lot of things that needs discussing when it comes to that, and once you sort that out, then I think that the time is also something that you guys can sort out, that you would have to just sort out around your baby schedule, especially if you don't have like any help like we do. So you have to find interesting ways to do what you need to do. In navigating all these challenges, friction, and the not so good issues that we were facing and are still currently facing for some, we have learned to sort of build systems that would help us like navigate it. The first one is communication. Like I said, you need to open your mouth and speak up about anything, everything. Nothing should be off the table. You guys need to come to an agreement on the things that bother you. You have to open the door to open and honest communication. You guys have to be very, very intentional in the way that you do that. So we try to communicate. Myself and my husband, I consider my husband my friend. We don't have a lot of friends, so we are quite good friends, very, very good friends. So we talk about we talk, we joke. If you've seen myself and my husband, like that's like our default communication style. So because we are that close, we are that playful, we are that open, we can raise up topic issues. We just learn to communicate. I think that's like one of our biggest strengths when it comes to like our relationship. And because we can talk like that, I think that we would be able to resolve any issues that we face now and in the future. Create that time to do the things that you guys enjoy as a couple. You need to find a way to continue to ignite that friendship, that romance in your life, so that your life does not begin to revolve around your child and everything you're talking about is your child. You guys need to go outside of that child box. If not, you realize that all your life have now become your child. Outside of your child, you guys no longer have anything you're talking about. You no longer have relationship. If they remove your child, the both of you will scatter. You came before the child, so you need to nurture that so that it doesn't die. You also need to find ways to rebuild the intimacy that you used to have. There's a period of your marriage, of your relationship in the beginning when you just have a child, where you guys are just going through routines. You are living like roommates as opposed to like partners, lovers, romantic individuals. That's not even is at the back of your head, especially if you've gone through childbirth as a woman. You are not thinking in that direction. You are just focused on the baby, focused on healing. You are in that period for a period of time. So when you eventually begin to feel like yourself, when you've healed and when you're ready to get into things, you need to find ways to begin to rebuild that intimacy. I've heard like a lot of women say that things about them changed after they had a baby. So you need to start to figure out that things for yourself. And if you're a man watching this, just know that it will help you a great deal if you help relieve your wife's mental burden, mental load, if you help around the house, if you pick up some of the responsibilities that she has to do day in, day out. Your life will be a lot easier if you just help relieve some of that stress, because it's a lot of things to be doing. To be breastfeeding, taking care of a baby, cooking, taking care of the house, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of ongoing, boring, redundant, mental, annoying job to do every single day, round the clock. It's a lot. It's a lot. So it will help you a great deal if you relieve some of that burden, which is the next advice I'm going to give, is that you guys should find a way to share your label equally, even though I don't think that it is possible for the label to be equal, because there are just some things that the woman has to do, but in as much as you can do, please do. Don't be reminded, or don't wait to be reminded, don't wait to be told. Just look around and help around with the things that you need to do. It's your household as well. If you are a mom, please tell me in the comment section if you experienced any of these things that I mentioned in this video, or even if it's like something different, please leave it in the comment section. Also, let me know how you were able to resolve, navigate, and move forward from that. I would also love to know. Like I mentioned in this video, we are still going through some things as well, and I'm looking for solutions, advice, whatever, especially if you are like an experienced OG in this game. Please let me know in the comment section. I'll be waiting for you down there. If you enjoyed watching this video, give it a thumbs up, please. Also share if you found it useful. Somebody else will as well. And last but definitely not the least, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.